welcome to Cracked Movie Club, the show where we do a book club, but for movies, which are like books but better. I am your host, Jordan Breeding, and I'm joined by only one of my co-hosts, Jesse, because Allie didn't know what movie we were doing, because probably my fault, and so she didn't have time to watch it. Say hey, Jesse.
Hi, I did the homework. What was the movie again? Yeah, it was Jackass Forever, right?
You said to just watch any horror movie you could think of, and we would talk about it. And we are joined by crack writer Zanandi, who has
Hi guys.
a last name that I was told I shouldn't even bother trying to pronounce, but it is spelled Botes. So do with that what you will. But you've written like a million things for the website, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I think, yeah, you lose count eventually, right? Not as many as you, Jordan, still. I think I still haven't heard that much, but
I'm sure you have.
I think enough.
I bet you have. I tapped out at 120 or so.
Okay, yeah, maybe. Oh gosh, have I written more than Jordan Breeding?
Well, I wrote a lot of scripts, so maybe we can. But
Zanandi, how long have you been writing for the site?
I think the first article came out in 2016. Yeah, it was the year you guys got that weird guy for president. Yeah. 2016. Yeah.
That's when I started writing for Cracked, actually.
Tim Ryan,
October.
you mean?
Oh. Yeah.
And you've written articles. You've written a ton of Pictofacts. You've written all over the place.
At least one honest ad, right? The dating apps one.
Yeah, the dating apps one. Hopefully, more scripts to come. Let's hope for time and energy and just life and vitality.
We're pivoting to improv, unfortunately.
These are all difficult things, and even just the video team's been in flux. Writers are coming and going, and executive teams, and who knows what's supposed to happen. But hey, let's talk about this movie that we're going to talk about, Juicy Thighs Man. Can you give us the title and summarize this film in a succinct, useful way?
You got it. It's called We Summon the Darkness. And let's see. I'm just going to read the script of the film, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. That would be really helpful. Paint us a picture.
It is essentially about these three classic horror babes who are on a road trip. They're on a road trip to go see ostensibly their favorite metal band. They look like they are sort of these vulnerable, like they're all going to be, fighting to see who's going to be the last girl. But it turns out that they are, in fact, the monsters of the film. They're part of this church cult that is killing people and making it look like it was a satanic ritual. I don't know if I'm giving away the twist, but I think they get to it pretty quickly. They're part of this. They're part of this like super evil church, and they're just trying to denounce Satan by straight up murdering people. They've killed like 15 to 18 people already, and making it look like it was done by Satan and his worshippers. And so they meet up with these three dudes at this show. They start to hit it off. They think they're gonna pork, but instead they end up the dudes end up being running around the house for the rest of the movie, trying not to get murdered by these babes.
And to clarify, the idea is that if satanic worshipers murder enough people, that will drive all the survivors to Christianity. It's sort of like a Saw-esque. I'm killing things so that other people will do something morally upstanding, like care about their life or whatever. But yeah, that's the idea, is that if enough satanic worshipers murder people, everybody else will be like, wow, I guess I should become a Christian because I don't want to be satanic. I don't want to listen to Pantera or something. So Zanandi, why this one? Of all the movies in the world, you had a free reign. Why this one?
I don't know. I just enjoy this movie a lot. It's a short in and out, like 90 minutes, 91 minutes. I love my short movies. It's got some wild and bonkers characters. I mean, we've got kids hitting each other with baking sheets in the kitchen at one point. It's great. It's more of a comedy than a horror, really. I just love the cheekiness of it. It makes some comments, but it doesn't take itself too seriously. And yeah, I just think it's my favorite fake satanic ritual gone wrong movie. by far. My
Yeah,
favorite by
for
far.
sure.
It should be said. So Zanandi is a huge horror buff, and so she actually gave me a slate of movies to choose from.
did.
And
Ah,
like a child, a candy store, I saw. Oh, that one has Johnny Knoxville. That
Yes,
was
that
that was
too.
the most eye-catching. I want to watch that one.
that's fair. Oh, and to clarify too, this is actually set in like the height of the well, at least part of the satanic panic in like early 80s, I would guess.
I think it was
Or-
88. I think it says
oh,
it's Indiana, 1988 at the start of the movie.
okay. I
Yeah.
Early
totally
80s.
missed
It's
that.
a blink and you'll miss it. So
Here's
you
what
probably
happened. In my defense, what popped up, there were like 38 production companies that worked on this film,
Yeah.
for some weird reason. And the thing that I noticed was Litecoin. Is the like is that the Facebook cryptocurrency? What is
Oh.
Litecoin?
Litecoin. I
No,
don't
it's not. It's
know.
not Facebook. It just looks like a Facebook thing. I don't know, but at some point it popped up Litecoin, and I was like, "What the hell is? What does that mean?" And I was like writing it down and thinking, and I missed that it was 1988. And the whole
Hmm.
time I'm sitting there, when is the Bitcoin going to or the cryptocurrency going to factor into this plot? I was confused for a while, wondering. I was like, it feels like the 80s, but also, did they say, am I an idiot? Turns out I was an idiot.
They did, yeah. They did a few things like in the style of like Stranger Things, where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna shoehorn the name of the current vice president into conversation.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's pretty funny. So, yeah, I mean, so I'm curious. So you kind of mentioned a few of these things. What to you? You said you're going to talk about this on another podcast too. So please use all your good stuff here. But
Oh, I
what?
already did.
Oh, you already did.
Like a year ago. Yeah.
Oh, the
I
other
think
podcast.
yeah, this is my second podcast
Oh
on
my
this
God.
movie.
Well,
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think I'm the only person ever that's done 2 podcasts on We Summon the Darkness.
it's very possible.
A movie that, yeah, few people saw, but more people should.
Yeah. So I think it released on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken, like right on like April, probably the same day that we rebooted the YouTube channel. If
Oh, wow.
I
That's
might
why
be
we couldn't
wrong
get
on that.
Johnny Knoxville. He was busy doing press for this.
Yeah, he was gonna reboot the channel, and then he had a. I know it's April 10th. It predates the reboot by
Oh wow.
2 weeks, but it was a Friday in April in 2020, so it was pretty close. So here's what I'll say about it. I think I had a little trouble in the early part because so Jesse and I reviewed or talked about at least Bodies, the A24. It's a very recent one. It's I don't know.
Yeah, I
People
saw
that
it.
Oh, okay, great. So one of the things, so I saw this in a review, and I think it makes sense. People were talking about how it could be like a Richard Linklater. Am I saying that name right? I just read everything. I don't hear names or places.
Same. Sounds.
Richard L. In that it's very naturalistic dialogue. It's a lot of people kind of. I would imagine that a lot of it was improvised, especially early on, where just people are kind of talking over each other and they're doing things and kind of making fun of each other. And sometimes I struggle with that a little bit to like get latched onto it. I don't know why. So for me, once they started being satanic murderers, I was a lot more like, oh, okay, this is a lot more in the vein of what I want from a movie. But I don't know, something about that naturalistic dialogue. I was a lot more like, oh, sorry. I don't know. It always kind of like rubs. I don't know if it rubs me the wrong way or anything, but it just like
I could see
I
it
want it
being-
to be more stylized almost. I don't know why.
I could see it be like a blessing and a curse. Like there's certainly, if people try too hard to write conversational teen or young 20-something dialogue, it gets real goofy. And so they're like, all right, well, these people are hot and hip. Like, let's just give them an hour or so to goof around and they'll probably say something funny.
And there were definitely funny lines and funny moments sprinkled throughout. But anyway, that was just kind of a quick thing that I noticed that reminded me immediately of Bodies, which is another sort of teens.
Yeah,
Murdering.
and also very like relaxed. It's so funny you're talking about Richard Linklater because I just watched Dazed and Confused again before
Okay.
this pod for
Yeah.
like research stuff, and yeah, I'm also not really like into that. Like it loses me. It's just
Okay.
not entertaining enough for me, really.
Yeah.
But I think with like We Summon in the Darkness, and maybe it's because I'm a girl, a woman. Gosh, I'm old now. I'm a woman now. I'm not a girl anymore.
Ooh,
I'm a
we have a
girl.
woman on the podcast.
Ooh, you guys, well done. And I miss Ali.
Yeah.
And yeah, but like I don't know. I love their dialogue. I love their
Okay.
little because I think there was a lot of things that came through there, like the relationships. There was also like little hints of, like Val and Beverly coming from maybe like different backgrounds, different pasts, which at the end made sense. Like, kind of how do you say, like using like people with weaknesses and getting them into your cult of doing all these crazy things. And even with all the metal talk, like with those conversations when they got to like the rock show, you could also hear like Alexandra Daddario's character. I mean, she's like all dressed, all metal, like she's into it. But then the dude asks her, like, what was your first concert? And she's like,
Oh yeah.
I can't remember. But like Beverly is like talking all metal with the dude. Like she's metal for real. Like she's actually been to metal. She's like the real one, Like I think by the time they got to it's actually difficult not to do spoilers and stuff with
Oh, we already
this.
spoiled it. It's
We
fine.
can
We
spoil
always
Right,
spoil it.
yeah, we're just gonna do that. But by the time they get to the house and it's the drugging, and you can see Beverly is like, oof, I don't really know about this because I think she kind of found her people at the metal show. And she's like,
Yeah.
no, that's my
Yeah.
people. Like, I want to stick with the boys. Like, they actually know their middle. So yeah, like all of that little things came out, like there's like also this movie is great it's a great rewatchable movie because every time you watch it again, you pick up those little dialogue thingies. The first time I watched it too, I was like, okay, where is this going? I know they're kind of trying to like, ooh, are the girls going to be all Texas chainsawed on their way through this wilderness? And there's like, no, okay, these girls are weird. Something's off here. You kind of, quickly on you realize they're trying to lure you into a thing, but it's the girls. I think that the real twist of the movie is really the Johnny Knoxville is her dad thing. That's really the big twist, not that the girls are the murderers.
Well, I was gonna. I wrote down, one of my notes was, I'm sure they're murderers or something, but the attractiveness is massively off balance. When they basically, once they start talking to the dudes in the van, I'm like, they have to be killers because, like you're saying, it's too easy to have the hot women. And I was like, and like they would have hotter men. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me unless they're trying to say something about the like metal fandom that everybody is unjudgmental about attractiveness or something. But I was like,
I also love like how Daddario and Maddie Hansen, their characters, again, they're not these metal chicks, so they're dressed the way they think metal chicks dress, but it's pretty much like if someone does that today and they just go on Etsy and the first like metal tops that they find and the upside down crosses. And I mean, Daddario, she's got all the jewelry happening and it's like much, and it's just hilarious because it's actually so not metal. Like,
that's what's funny though, is I think there's probably a lot of thought and a lot of subtlety put into things like that totally went out. If we were talking about like early 2000s scene music, maybe I would have been like, wait, that's not what you wear to a Seosin show. But I think
Seosin.
I think kind of the like glam, but it's not glam metal, right? It is whatever, it's like more real metal, Satan metal, which I'm not like
what's Soldiers of Satan. That was the band that they went to watch. Very subtle. Soldiers of Satan.
Yeah.
I bet it would be like if you're a metal guy, because okay, so these guys are in a band, so you could think, or at least they might think like, yeah, we're in a band, we're hot shit, of course we can like of course, like we're hot enough for these three girls, but also like I bet for some reason just like those dudes stink for sure. That van smells like piss
Man,
and
ugh.
weed. And then
Yeah.
the girls show up with like these like very like fully like dark black things that probably still have the creases in it from being folded up at Target or whatever. And like they probably don't even like don't smell like metal heads. Like I feel like these guys should have known, but I think it was their hubris was their downfall, which I think is something more movies should do.
Maybe actually, but I do want to back up for a second.
That's
So
me.
I think
Something.
you're correct in that probably the bigger twist is Johnny Knoxville being the dad.
Yeah.
However, they make it sound, and I wanted to talk about this because I was a little bit confused by it. He sort of suggests that he needed her to die so that he could get suspicion off of himself. Because like everybody was like, maybe he's like other people watched the first half of the movie and thought something similarly to us, that maybe there's something going on here, like they're faking these murders so that they can whatever. However, it feels like a thing they make it sound like he just shows up, and they make it sound like he's adapting, which makes sense. But then he also says, don't you see, this was like my plan all along, kind of. At least that's what I felt like he was saying, but
I know.
I didn't understand how it could have been. Why would he offer up his own house, but she didn't want her dad to know, and like the police get involved, and it just felt I just missed something or misunderstood something, or I don't know if you had a better answer for that.
It's funny, like I talked to Mark on the podcast a year ago about this.
I don't want to hear about Mark. I don't want to
And
hear
I-
about your other podcasts.
No, but
Mark
Listen to
Mark who?
podcast.
Yes, through Mark.
Hill?
I'm going to
No,
summon the
Mark
darkness on
Hoffmeyer.
Mark.
Mark
Oh,
Hoffmeyer
oh.
actually has, like, he's got the Movies, Films, and Flicks pod. He's written for Cracks. He's written some columns before. But anyway, this is not about Mark. I just, like,
Nothing
I
about
also
Mark.
asked him, because that was also confusing to me. I'm like, so that was his plan all along? Because, yeah, they, like, pretend like, no, the stepmom phoned him, and that's why he came, and he walked into the chaos. But like you say, Jordan, that's exactly what he says. He kind of implies that was his plan all along. So Mark and I kind of just figured it was actually plan B. He was staging it, like, and so that him and his daughter could look like victims. But then he knew she was going to mess up. So he had his plan B ready. And that was to kill his own daughter, because Johnny Knoxville has never been more diabolical in a movie.
Yeah, he was
So-
very cruel looking. So yeah, his plan was to get hit in the head with the
Really
spare
sticky.
boat part.
Get smacked in the nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
fly
did
out
he get it in the
window.
nuts? Oh, I might have blinked.
No, I just mean if it's Johnny Knoxville.
Oh,
his
yeah.
plan is
Yeah.
always to get just
Yeah.
reamed in the nuts or run into a bunch of bees or something. What I sort of thought, but I do not think is true, and what I hoped was true, was that I thought Beverly is the one that has to change the heart, right, Bev?
Yeah, Beverly,
Okay.
yes.
I thought that she was a plant to when it turned out that Johnny Knoxville was the dad and like in charge and evil or whatever. I actually thought it was a plant to be like she was always going to betray them or something, and then Johnny Knoxville was maybe going to go shoot her in the head, or I don't know. I think there were layers of complexity that I wanted or thought there was that
I thought she was gonna be like a plant. Like I thought she was gonna be a cop or something. She like witnesses.
cop.
She like sees like one guy get murdered very suddenly, and she's like, "Oh no, I have fucked up. I got to figure out how to I'm gonna go convene in the scary boathouse or whatever."
They have a weird, because there's a weird element
Phone
of
tobacco.
they have a
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
element of her being both like, well, I did not expect this, even though surely somebody mentioned that's the plan ahead of time, and or Alexis is like, or Johnny Knoxville is like, you said she was ready, Alexis, and Alexis is like, my bad. I
Yeah.
thought she was. I don't know. It was just some of that was a little bit confusing, and also Bev was in the boathouse for approximately 24 hours. It was so long.
Right? I kind of thought it was gonna be like
time
she was
got
like
confusing for sure.
I thought
But-
she was gonna have like built this like giant murder robot or something, right? Like she's in there for so long with all these tools, and then she
Which
just
she
comes out as
does.
part of a boat.
Hands.
She does. I mean, that's a complex weapon.
That's true. Yeah, I'll give her
I don't.
that.
I don't know if that's is that an homage to do metalheads know how to take apart boats and refashion them into weapons? That's another.
I think she was like, well, this is the closest I can get to like a chainsaw, like Texas
Yeah.
Chainsaw Massacre shout outs. Like, I'll
Yeah.
just use
Yeah.
this. I
It
don't
is
know.
it is
Yeah.
a really funny spin on the chainsaw thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like, it's also, sorry, but like also they use so many weapons in this movie. I
Mhm.
mean, we've got the drugs first and foremost. They drug the
Mhm.
boys. Then we've got knives. We've got baking sheets. We've got lighters and chemicals causing fires. We've got the motorboat prop. Like we've
What
got
were
a
they-
gun.
Oh,
the
yeah,
cop
right.
gun. I mean, it's all the weapons. And
What were
these
they,
kids don't know what the hell to do with any of it.
yeah.
Yeah. What
I
were they
just love
spraying under the
chaoticness.
door?
I thought
Yeah,
it was.
what was that? I don't know American products. What was that? Like,
I thought it was bug spray. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was like
Okay.
or like Raid or any of these kinds of like if you spray it on a cockroach it'll die
Mhm.
sort of things, which also are flammable probably because then they switch
Yeah.
to. It is funny that they sort of start doing it and then they'd stop and then they change it to a flamethrower.
They're like, oh no, the cops are on the way. Let's burn just one room.
Let's escalate everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I did think the sort of it's interesting because the body count is not particularly. I mean, it kind of all spirals out at the end, right? Like the one
Yeah.
guy gets stabbed, and then the stepmom dies way later, and it's really an interesting. I did really like this sort of weird standoff between the dudes in the closet of all places, and the women outside the closet. It was an interesting like how they sort of reduced it to a single room kind of problem
Yeah.
from a big old mansion where usually people are running around forever. It was a weird kind of I don't know. It was like a bunch of little horror movies shoved into one because then they also have the attic fight with the hair catching on fire, which is also pretty. I can't imagine being choked and being like having the like wherewithal to ignite somebody's hair.
Oh, I just remembered chicks hate it when their hair gets on fire.
Yeah, I love because it's also kind of like a cheeky comment on all the hair product, the
Right.
chemicals in hair products
Oh,
of
right.
the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did get that for sure. I was like, well, it's because, and especially of the three girls, she seemed to be the one that was most.
Oh yeah, she was since the beginning, or from the beginning of the movie. She's just like hair, and makeup, and hair, and what?
like
What
you-
did she say there? Like makeup is like a war paint for sex.
Right.
Oh yeah,
What
that's
she
right.
says at the beginning.
Yeah.
Some of the lines in this movie, I just love. It's so funny.
Yeah. Oh well, I was gonna say, like even Alexis, takes her fake eyelashes off as soon as the ruse is over. Like she's not as invested in that. She's kind of just. She's like, all right, I used the eyelashes to trick you, and now, I'm just gonna stab you, and I don't care.
Now you can see my real form. Squeep.
Yeah.
That's what I look like in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not very dramatic, and if I hadn't seen the scene, I would never have noticed. But
Yeah. But
But
also
she's-
Alexandra Daddario's eyes. She just has these huge, crazy eyes. I mean, the acting in this movie, listen, it's so like, yeah, the actors really, the girls especially, they just put the fun in it. I mean, Maddie Hansen is a nut. I think she's just really like the rebel. Like, I don't think she really buys into the whole cult thing. Like, she'll just do anything, she's like the person's like starting the riot first, like she's just, yeah, let's blow stuff up.
yeah.
She's great. Yeah, just the acting in general I enjoy so much. And yeah, like I say, it's just like these dumb kids running around. Ooh, we need to like stage this big thing now, but they're so clueless and they don't know what the hell they're doing. They've never done this before. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's some like bloodlust happening with those two girls. Like, yeah, you can see they're enjoying it.
Yeah, because this is
it's
their. I
bonkers.
mean, this is they were at 18 murders going into this whole scene, right? Because they
Yeah,
were
but
the
that
serial
was
killers, right?
no. So they're part of the Daughters of the Dawn, Daughters
Hmm.
of the Dawn. And they actually say like this is their first. The
Oh,
other
okay.
like girls, because I guess they're all girls, like they each get a chance to do a killing, and this was their first, you see.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's
Yeah.
also, I wonder if
That's why
I
they're
wonder
so
if it's,
bad.
Yeah.
yeah. I wonder if it started out with like crap. Wait, who's the weird guy in California in the 70s that oh, Manson. Like the
Manson.
Manson family. I wonder if it's the whole idea was like, okay, this is like a newcomer to the Manson family, and this is her on her first gig. She's trying to prove herself.
Yeah. Like an
Yeah.
initiation.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
interesting.
So yeah, like with Beverly, I also think it's such a cool character to have a setup for a sequel. Like I so see a sequel for this movie because she and the guy who totally looks like Colin Farrell meets Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like they get away at the end. So those two are off to LA. Johnny Knoxville's still alive. I can totally see him sending his other Daughters of the Dawn to go and get those, to somewhere in
Yeah,
LA. So
yeah.
you can have this whole thing play out again in Los Angeles. I mean, come on. I'll
So
pay
it
money for the sequel and finally see it in the theater.
yeah. So it felt to me a lot like a higher stakes like Home Alone. And so it'd be very funny, like the Home Alone 2 Lost in New York is just them like lost in LA.
Well,
Yes.
and the weird thing about it, though, the way that you could make it even more complex is, as far as literally everybody knows, they think Beverly's the killer. Like they think she snapped, and like, because on the news, Johnny Knoxville is like crying and is like, Satanist killed my daughter. And as far as anyone knows, that's true, I believe. So they just think like, it's just this weird. So she might have to fight off the Daughters of Dawn and the cops or whatever. Like everybody's
Ooh.
Well,
wants to
not
take her down.
necessarily, because now you need to remember, like, the whole idea is to make it look like it's a murder suicide, because that's like what the satanic ritual is about. So,
Do you think they
like, I
pulled that
think
off?
Johnny kind of just implied that, yeah, like the people that are dead there, they were the cult that did it, and they staged it
Uh,
at his house. His house. It was like, they targeted him. But the thing is, Beverly knows the real story. So, like, he'll go after her.
Interesting. Okay, I guess you're
But
right.
because it's in LA, we can have, like, the whole Hollywood making a movie about this thing happening in the background. It's like We Summon the Darkness meets Scream. Oh my gosh. All my money. All
write
my
this
money.
down.
Write this down. Record this podcast.
I was gonna say
Speed record.
this is a random note that doesn't that has no value whatsoever, but I thought it was funny and interesting how many people tried to choke other people to death. There were like
Right.
at least 3 choking scenes, if not more, where people are like, I'm choking you, and then it doesn't work, and then somebody chokes somebody else, and like, it was pretty funny how many people just like in a movie with an incredible amount of weapons, as you mentioned, like getting
Yeah.
smacked with a baking pan or whatever,
Yeah.
and bug spray and flamethrowers and
The whole shebang.
yeah,
No,
all
that's
these
a
things.
good observation, actually. Like, I mean, yeah, like that's not really a knee-jerk reaction, is it? To just choke someone?
That's the most, I think, of all the things, that's the most difficult and personal way to kill.
Yeah,
Totally.
so
Yeah.
intimate. I
In my
mean,
experience.
like Jesse would know. Jesse's the pro here. Over to
Yeah.
you, Jess. Tell us.
Oh, I got a ton of weapons. I got a baking pan. I've got some Raid.
Yeah.
Do you have a blender?
I don't have a blender actually.
Oh, okay.
Aw.
It's a good weapon.
You just have to eat all your stupid fruits and vegetables raw and whole.
Yeah, man.
That's all
God.
Jesse
Jesse.
does.
Oh.
Sits
Need
around.
need those vitamins, man.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, but anyway, I just thought it was funny. It felt very intense to try and choke.
But you know what?
Yeah,
It makes
right?
sense because nobody, neither the dudes or the girls, have any experience killing people, so they don't.
Yeah.
All they know is from movies. Yeah, people choke people a lot, and they don't realize how hard it is.
Yeah, it's just
Right.
chaos. It's absolute chaos. I think that's why I love the movie too, because like, yeah, I like some chaos. Just people not knowing. Like we've got a lot of John Wick movies, and like guys just absolutely being pros at what they do. Show me the people that don't know what's happening. Like they're just winging it. Like, that's
They got
way
a
more
dollar,
relatable for me.
Yeah.
dollar and a dream, and no experience murdering people, but they're gonna learn. You just pick it up.
Yeah, with God and Satan by their side.
Yeah. The one last observation I had was I thought that it was kind of funny that at some point, right at the end, they're like driving away, and he says, "Where are we?" when he wakes up. The guy does, and she's like, "I have no idea." And then she walks into the gas station that they were literally at yesterday, and I was like, "Well, you have some idea, right?" Also, you only got about 30 minutes down the road
Right. Yeah.
overnight. Anyway, I don't know.
Maybe
Those are
she-
always the things that I notice, and I'm like,
Maybe she's like, what do you call that state? In shock, where
oh,
you just
Oh.
forget. I don't know.
fugue,
Like,
fugue
but
state.
you're right. Yeah. How
Yeah.
does she
She's in the
not know?
fog of
That
war still.
guy,
Yeah.
guy with the older than dirt
Oldest, yeah.
hat. I love that. I love that hat. Older than dirt. So great.
Yeah.
Shame that old man doesn't know what.
Yeah.
You girls be safe out there. You seem like nice ladies.
Yeah.
Like,
We're gonna
hey,
murder us some boys.
yeah. Hey, couldn't help but notice there's blood and part of a scalp on the front of your car. Is everything okay?
Right.
See, that's the thing. As they kind of ride off into the sunset to a degree, they make sure to stop and get band-aids and hydrogen peroxide to take care of like the one little tiny cut on her eyebrow. But their car is covered in evidence linking them to these brutal murders. Hose it down,
Yeah.
man.
Like you just need to get to a car wash like ASAP.
Yeah.
Right.
It's always important to scrape Alexandra Daddario, or however you say her name, off your car. Actually, that just reminded me too. She has a cameo or a brief scene in New Girl. I don't know if you've ever seen that show.
Hmm.
And one of the
Yeah.
characters refers to her as having crazy witch eyes, which I think is a pretty apt description. I mean, in
It's
every movie that
accurate.
she's in, it doesn't matter what she's doing. She definitely, like, every time the camera's
Yeah.
on her, she's like,
Eyes.
"My eyes are nuts." Either it's supposed to be because I'm the hottest character ever, or because I'm crazy, or even if it's like doe-eyed deer in the headlights, kind of more like in White Lotus or something.
White Lotus, I was gonna say, yeah, deer in
Yeah.
headlights. Yeah.
She gets
Love
a
it.
lot of mileage out of having just the craziest eyes, and then the movie or the whatever will just sort of work around it and be like, "It's 'cause she's evil. It's 'cause she's innocent. It's 'cause she's super hot." And you're like, "Yeah, all right, whatever." And she's just the whole time.
I buy it. I buy it every time.
early title pitch. The girls have eyes.
Ah, love it.
Ooh, the girls
Love it.
have eyes, or at least one of them does.
Confirmed one girl has eye.
Girl have eye. I do think it's always funny. How many times does it happen in horror movies where they've defeated the villain and they're in their car and they're driving away and the villain steps in the middle of the road and is like, "Don't though, please."
Yeah,
and they
that is a trope, isn't it?
They just plow them most of the time. It's just such an interesting. It's an
like
interesting
you-
instinct for villains to have.
Yeah, and I mean, do villains really think people are gonna stop? It's like it's very wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Who is it that just like laid down in front of his girlfriend's car to keep her from going to hang out with Harry Styles?
Did
who
Jason
am I thinking of?
Sudeikis do that?
Yeah, Jason Sudeikis.
Jason.
They said he laid down like under the wheel of what's her name's car because he found out she was about to go see Harry Styles. So I like to think it was maybe more dramatic than him just laying down. You know, he
Yeah.
stood
I
up
know.
in the road and did one of these. Yeah,
They had a whole moment where they beat each other with baking pans first, and
yeah, baking pans, boating equipment. Yeah,
they tried to choke each other, but kind of couldn't finish. Yeah.
Someone screamed motorboat prop. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you touch my motorboat?
And then wasn't there like special salad dressing? I didn't read much of that stuff. I just see the Twitter jokes that make no context or sense to me at
Yeah.
I love how we found a way to talk about that in the We Some of the Darkness.
all. We're relevant.
Amazing. We are relevant. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, man, I wonder if the salad dressing is as poisonous as whatever they put in those drinks to jug the boys.
Ooh, yeah. But yeah.
Witchy poison.
So that's something that I need to reconcile, because I spent a lot of the film thinking that they were legitimately interested in witchcraft. They were doing very witchy things, except they were just like, good Christian girls who just who I don't know. Maybe there's nothing to really dissect there. Whatever. They're just
Well,
being
they're
hypocrites.
not interested. I mean, if anything, they're
No.
opposed to it. This is
Yes,
just the
yeah.
way that they choose to
Fake it,
increase church
basically.
membership, I guess.
Good
Yeah.
recruiting tactic. See
Make
how it pays off.
people scared so that they join the church.
Yeah, and I guess also looking back on it, like a lot of their like satanic imagery was a little bit doofy. It looked like it was just like a kid drawing it with their left hand, and like, yeah, I see why now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I do love at the end where Johnny, like when he's playing the victim for the cameras, and he's like, "How many of our kids have to die in the name of Satan?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's the summary right there." Like,
Yeah,
good job, adults.
yeah.
probably
Yeah.
more. We should be sacrificing more kids to Satan. Give him a little bit of power. See what he can do with it.
I did think there was
So what
something
happens?
you mentioned that it sort of makes some comments on some things, but it doesn't fully like it's not really interested in trying to make some big statement and pissing anybody off. And I did
Yeah.
think it was interesting that it's like, for example, the Bev or whatever, she ends up fully turning because she realizes he's using money that he keeps in a tackle box in the barn
Yeah,
to purchase like condos or other mansions and nice stuff. And she's like, wow, he's a hypocrite. I hate him, and that's awful. But like, if a bunch of who are his followers? I guess I'm a little bit, if it's a bunch of runaways like her, how much money is she? Maybe she said
Well,
something about donations, maybe like,
I mean, obviously the church doesn't know what this little cult
interesting.
section of the church is doing, because
Good point.
like also like he's a televangelist. So,
mm,
like he's got his followers and people in his congregation. But yeah, I think the Daughters of the Dawn is like his special little
it's like youth
sect.
group.
It's like youth group.
Oh my God, you're right. When I was a kid, we used to go out and murder people in the
You
name of
remember,
Satan. But
Jordan?
yeah.
Remember? Yeah, we
That's
we all
silly.
played in the church band, and then we went out and murdered people in
That's
Satan's
right.
name.
That's
Yeah.
right. I totally
Yeah.
forgot about that. That's so
And wouldn't
funny.
it be fucked up if like in real life there was like a televangelist that was actually doing evil things secretly? That is a chilling thought.
I don't even
I
want to
mean,
imagine it.
Jesse, don't put that voodoo out there.
Cool. You guys got any other kind of thoughts that you want to hit? I think I hit most of the stuff that I thought was
Yeah, I mean,
of
like,
interest.
yeah, I love hearing from you guys about it because, like I say, I've talked about this movie a lot. So I just love talking to other people about it because not a lot of people have seen this movie. But honestly, all the people that has, I've never heard anyone that doesn't really like it, except for, like snooty reviewers.
Idiots. Yeah.
Thank you, Jesse. So yeah, I'm just like happy to chat with you guys about it.
Yeah.
One of those like an early sign that these girls were not like real metal fans was one of them, when they find out that the dudes are in a band, one of them is like,
yeah.
"Oh, what's your axe?" It's like, axe refers to guitars specifically, right? Unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah, I actually thought, I was like kind of confused. I didn't know if that was just bad
I thought it was
writing.
bad writing, but looking back, it's like they seem to spend a lot of time studying metal and stuff, and so they know enough to like talk about bands and stuff and make up their first show. Oh yeah, because that one of them memorized the entire lineup and the date and day of her first show or whatever, which is like a little bit more than probably most like casual to moderate fans would remember. So a lot of it is like clearly like studied, but also it's one of those things where like you can't pronounce words that you've only read a lot. So like she's seen and heard people talk about axes, and she's like, I guess that just means instrument.
Yeah. Yep, that's me. I don't know how to pronounce anything, and I just sort of wander through life hoping that the big words I use are correct, or the references I make are pronounced correctly. But Anyway,
The last
Uh,
names.
anything else, or do we want to throw it to the masses for a minute?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the drummer, I thought he looked like a young Farva. And that's it.
What's a
A
farva?
young who? What?
Farva from Super Troopers. I forget the actor's name, but he reminded me of a Farva.
Jesse, you're so
Have you
old.
not seen Super Troopers?
Super.
Oh, I'm not.
I've seen it.
Yeah, we
I don't know
have.
anybody's
We have
freaking
seen
name.
it.
You
We're
don't
old.
know.
We can't remember, Jesse.
We should do Super Troopers because
Oh,
that is a great
Farva.
movie and it's very popular. And I get
You're
chat. Should we
talking
do
about
Super Troopers?
Ian.
I know about
Ian is
fava beans.
Oh my
Farva.
god, I can't roll my eyes hard enough.
that actor, Jesse, that's Taylor Swift's little brother, like in Who's in
No.
the Darkness. Yeah, the guy that plays Ian. It's
Oh,
Taylor Swift's
really?
brother. Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
actually only saw that myself when I was like just quickly this afternoon preparing for the pod and just want to remember everyone's names again. Yeah, it's actually
Huh.
Taylor Swift's
That's
younger brother.
how does that fit into the whole weird like Swifty like numerology thing that everybody's swept up in right now?
Oh gosh, I think it's time to ask, the people about that. Rather, give us a
Anyway.
theory.
Well,
Yeah, everybody wants us to do Super Troopers. So
Oh, that
Jordan,
would be
you're
fun.
wrong.
No, I don't care, but it's like,
You're wrong not to care.
how am I gonna know? I don't remember freaking farva.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
I
I don't
remember
remember
everybody's name.
anyone's name. Yeah, like
don't take his side.
Fine. All right. I'm throwing it to the
Super Troopers.
people. All right.
Toss.
This is Jonestown meets the Addams Family, says Irish Lover.
That's fun.
I think that's sort of true. I don't think anybody likes each other very much, like the Addams Family. It's
True.
spelled Richard Linklater, but it's pronounced Throat Warbler Mangrove.
Awesome. Thanks.
That's what you get when you just don't read things. I'm gonna skip that one. Missed this one, but it sounds similar to The Craft or Jennifer's Body. I haven't seen those. We're bringing Brian on. Brian moment. Bah, 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 bah. Wait, did you even watch this
Hey.
movie?
I haven't
though?
seen this movie, but based off of what you guys are describing, it definitely has very Jennifer's Body vibes.
Great. I haven't seen
There you have
Jennifer's Body. So between the two of us, I
That
think
comment is Brian approved.
I think you're right, Dave. Good job.
Kid tested. Brian approved.
And I'm just gonna bring anime,
Oh,
sexy
hey.
anime up, just to say it's
Welcome
like
back.
how all of us is somehow part of the Wu-Tang Clan. We got to get this image on our screen every week because
Wait, is that like
Zealot
how
Master is a
Good.
some huge percentage of the world's population is related to Genghis Khan? Is that similar with the Wu-Tang Clan?
and also the Wu-Tang Clan broke up because they all broke their noses or whatever and fell asleep and drowned. All right.
Huh.
Yeah.
Let's do alternate titles. I don't have many, but I have a few. You guys ready? Are we ready for this?
Do it.
Did
Hit
we
it.
tell you that this was the thing? Did Jesse tell you that? We're
Yeah,
doing it?
but I
Okay.
actually knew. I have watched the pod, you guys.
Oh, well, you're the first.
So honored.
Cool. So the only one that I really liked was Satan ! At the metal show. Because
Love it.
we do that riff a lot. And then I
Yep.
said Death to the Patriarchy just to try and, with Demolition Man, I said insecure heterosexual males, and a lot of people watch just to be mad about it. So every once in a while, I'll do a
Oh,
title
yeah.
that only loosely ties, but is something that you could see people getting mad at. And, it all pays the same. So every
Yeah.
once in a while, even if we're not going to talk about it. So that's what I got. And then Jesse, I did write down The Girls Have Eyes because I think
good.
that one's wonderful.
I like that too.
Since we're on the subject, I do want to say I kind of like the new Panic at the Disco album. Are you guys on that? Have you heard of that?
I didn't. It's okay. I haven't
okay,
listened to it a
yeah.
ton.
Here's how I got in. So do you guys know the podcast Song Exploder?
Yes.
Have I brought that up before? Okay, so they did
No.
that on like the lead single or whatever from the new Panic album, and like so I heard like what went into it before I actually heard the song, and that got me like hooked right away. So anyway,
I
it's a good
really like their fourth album and their fifth album,
what's this one?
like their seventh album.
Okay,
That's it. I saw
That's
them
all.
live a handful of years ago. They're pretty good. And by they, I mean Brendan Urie, because that's the only one left. But
I saw them touring on their first album actually, and it was like very theatrical, as you might imagine.
yeah,
Huh.
I can.
Anyway, I just wanted everyone to know that it's more than just a naming convention. I actually kind of like Panic at the Disco.
Great.
Unless
I really
everyone thinks that's dumb, in which case I hate them.
I really like the fourth album. They change their genre like every album. The fourth album is a very kind of like a neon Las Vegas-y style that I really like. And then even more so, the fifth album is like lounge music. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's like modern lounge music, and it really showcases his range, and it's really cool. And then everything to the sides is fine, but those were the two that I just like really enjoyed. But Zanandi, what do you got for us that is not inexplicably for no reason Panic at the Disco thoughts?
Well, yeah. I mean, I actually can't remember the last time I listened to Panic at the Disco, so I'll
give it a
catch
try.
up for the next
them.
pod, guys. Yeah, I'll
I
come
can
with
give you
my
some
newfound
options if you-
knowledge. Yeah. Send it through. Okay, so I've got titles. I've got Reckless Alexis because I mean that's just I
yeah.
love it when he calls her Reckless Alexis. Colton Cookies. Yeah, I really love that scene where Johnny Knoxville is in the kitchen and just like drinking a soda and eating his cookie in the dark. It's hysterical. So Colton Cookies. And then yeah, we didn't even actually talk about the big blast of Belinda Carlisle that happened. I love it when just all of a sudden that song just pumps. Yeah, Heaven is a Place on. So I'm just like the title, Remember Belinda Carlisle? I think that would be such a ballsy title for a movie, and Belinda Carlisle is punk enough to love it. So yeah.
Well,
That's
it's so
Belinda
similar. It's so similar to what was the song that like had a huge like resurgence because of Stranger Things?
Run Up That Hill.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Natalia.
I feel like this movie was made before that season obviously came out. I don't know if it was filming at that point, but like it's very like I think they were really onto something. I would have to imagine part of the reason for making this movie is seeing the success of Stranger Things and how 80s are just ripe for a nostalgic look back. So yeah, had this movie been a hit, Belinda Carlisle
And
would
the
have been
satanic panic resurgence.
yes,
basically.
right. Oh god,
Also,
that's true. Yeah,
the relevancy of that, which is
Yeah.
kind of why I like. That's also actually just one thing I want to mention. What I like that the movie didn't look all 80s. You know, it was like
Yeah.
set in the 80s. It was in the throwback of that, but it's also so relevant, you know. So it's that cheeky little thing like, we're going to tell you it's the 80s and we're going to talk like it's the 80s, but we're not going to give you those dull 80s color lenses and whatever. It's going to look mod, you know. I kind of
Yeah.
like that little twist on it. But
yeah,
anyway.
it feels more. I can immerse myself in it more when they're not adding like weird little grainy effects and stuff.
Yeah. Or like in the 70s where the only color was orange, yellow. Like
Yeah. I another one, Mandy is like an example of sort of a horror movie that is not technically set in the 80s, but the whole vibe is 80s, but also like 80s art house insanity, like
trippy.
entire scenes are purple forever.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Jesse, you got any other ones?
Yeah, my only other one is Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, it felt very Hocus Pocus with these three girls doing evil, if not witchcraft, but still evil. And yeah, they were highly sexualized.
Oh, that's where you're getting the porcus from.
Pork
us.
Yeah, pork us. Yeah.
Pork us. Yeah.
Like they talk. I
good
mean,
one,
they even
Jesse.
say this one girl's a good Christian girl or whatever, but they like frequently say like, hey, do you want to have a threesome with us? That's
Oh yeah. No, they're yeah.
Which, by the
absolutely.
way, that would have been a foursome, but I mean, I don't want to get pedantic. Why start now?
Why start now? Pod's over.
I'm gonna move on. So we got only 2 suggestions this week because I think a lot of people haven't seen this movie, but we got
Yeah.
Christ's False Flag, which is
Cute.
true.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna write that down. I like it. And then Three Stooges on the Highway to Heaven. Which is pretty
Nice.
involved.
Nice.
Yeah, I think all this. Yeah, we're
And everyone
arguing
else go
about It
watch it.
Follows in the comments. It Follows is one of the greats, one of the best. Watch
It's a
It
good one.
Follows, everyone. Cool. Well, I think we're good. Zanandi, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything you want to plug? Where can we find you? Obviously, Cracked, but
Yeah, find me on Cracked, on Twitter, and hopefully see you guys again on the pod. This was so much fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What are you on Twitter? What's your handle?
Oh, at Zanandi.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
You guys can go. Yeah, very easy. I should
Don't-
actually. I see Jordan with his. I'll do that next time.
there's no point
Oh,
in
we should've
doing
done
anything unless I'm self-promoting. You know, every time I go into a Taco Bell, I carry a sign that has my handle on it. You just got to be proactive if you want to.
I'm terrible at self-promotion.
Live in this
like,
world.
and I've been doing it since 2016, and I'm still terrible.
Well, you got to have
No
a
hope
massive
here.
ego.
Right.
I was in a band for so long and nobody would ever listen to anything. Even if I would have to jigsaw them into a room, tie them to a bed to get them to listen to anything that we did. And it was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Our music is fine.
I heard
And-
some of it.
And
it
so
was fine.
all I would ever do is promote, self-promote all the time. And then all of a sudden we started doing comedy and everybody's mad at me all the time. And so there's people all over the place. So now that the shame is gone, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There's no shame left.
Yeah.
So I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm not Jordan Breeding. I'm at _J Breeding. That's who I am now.
I just kind of forget to do that. Like after every pod, someone's always like, "Okay, where can they find you?" I'm like, "Right behind you."
Yeah.
Out in your boathouse, sifting through your tackle box.
That's
Yeah.
right. Eating all the Twinkies.
Right. They mentioned that like 10 times.
Yeah.
Juicy
Twinkies.
thighs. Where can we find said thighs?
Yeah. Follow me on Twitter for more thigh content at Eisemann.
Now I'm going to unfollow you, actually.
For the best.
And as I've mentioned several times, because even as it sounds like I'm telling a story or a joke, I am still self-promoting at _J Breeding on Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good
Nobody,
stuff right there.
nobody's really watching anyway, so it's worth. Yeah, Michael Dieter says, I've heard Jordan has a YouTube channel. I do have a YouTube channel, and actually today I got approved to put some stuff on it. So starting next year, if you like me talking about things for a really long time in really inconvenient locations, I will be doing that some. So follow me on the YouTubes. It'll be fun. That's it. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks again, Zanandi. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
being
Thank
here.
you very much.
Awesome. Cheers.